We're gonna do ankle locks today. Okay. Before we get into like how to do the setups and all that kind of stuff, we're gonna go over braking mechanics of it, right? For a straight ankle lock, we are looking for a type of hyperextension, right? However, when we are looking for hyperextension, we're going to apply a little bit of form of rotation, right, to increase our braking power. Angle changes are often everything. If you took my ankle right now and was like, I'm going to touch it to the floor, I can touch my ankle to the floor.
Yeah.
If you turned my foot just a little and said, I'm going to keep going, and my heel couldn't move and my toes kept going, then yes, that would break it. The same cannot be said here, right? So, we're not going to take the ankle and try to break it just like this. We're going to take the ankle and try to break it like this. That seems to be small to slight to nothing of a change. But when you feel it, it's a drastic difference, right? Pulling someone's toes and trying to crinkle them in like this and then break it like this, it's very hard, right? Turning it and trying to break it like this, very easy, right? So, if we look at just this foot, and I do this, right, versus this, you see how there's already that rotation?
Yeah.
Right? You see how it wants to turn your hip?
Yeah.
Right? But we're attached to these things, so they can't turn, right? So when they can't turn, right, this kind of driving down is me, right? This kind of driving down, like powerful.
Yeah.
Right? So we're adding a slight turn. How do we accomplish that slight turn? When we look at how we take, right, like so, we're going to try to slide down as far as possible, obviously. If I can, I actually want these toes in my armpit, right, so I can crimple on top of them, right, not comfortable, right, but just for the sake of this, right, I'm going to take, and I'm going to drop my elbow. Feel how that rolls your foot.
Yeah.
Makes sense? So we're going to take our standard under gripping, right, and we're going to try to tuck our elbow underneath our body. This has two purposes. One, it makes it easier for me to rotate and to go belly down, right? If I wanted to rotate this way, high step, then I have to go over what's there, right? If I tuck it, it's very easy for me to rotate upon that point, right? So we're going to add that type of rotation in by tucking our elbow, right? And now we make our pivot point basically our shoulder. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that's the rotational part of this, right? The extension part is pretty simple, right? I'm going to extend my chest, right? While basically trying to look away from you. And I'm going to drive my hips. Now, these are also going to be doing something in that form of extension. You feel that, don't you? Right, go like this. Right, it doesn't matter if your feet are like this, like this. Your feet are going to start to drive away from you. Right? I'm going to basically post on them and drive away, and then my hips going to go. Alright? So I'm going to get my grip. Right? You're going to feel this type of extension. Right? And then you'll feel this. Right? And that's still very little hip. Right?
Yeah.
You can do a lot of hip. You won't almost ever need to. I prefer hip, but that's also because I prefer to attack. Because now that's me.
Yeah.
The arching back thing is great. Works very good. So you choose a personal preference of which one you want to apply more pressure with. Hips can be harder, just because of like humans are pretty decent with like applying force with their upper body, and not always great with their lower body. But that's the general gist of how we're going to break the ankle, right? We're seeking a form of hyperextension, so we're going to extend our body, bridge, and add a slight form of rotation into it, increasing our breaking angle. All that making sense?
Yep.
Any questions on that?
So the extension first.
I prefer
It's
a
like this.
tight limb.
Okay.
Limbs don't break, right? Because they're not. I'll never break your wrist like this, right? But as soon as I get it here, there's tension. Now I could break it. Tension. Does that make sense? Not gonna break, right? But as soon as I get here, there's tension now.
Yeah.
As soon as there's tension in a limb, you can snap it. Until then, noodly arms. You're not breaking nothing, right? So if your leg is limp, right, and I'm like, I'm gonna get this, right? And I'm like, squeezing. Not really. But if I put tension in it, that sucks, doesn't it? And I just extended you, right? This works with compression as well.
Oh yeah.
So like, I don't teach compression in ankle locks because most of the time you're already in the motion of extension.
Yeah.
So you want to do extension,
Yeah.
right? It's hard to go from extension to compression and all that kind of other stuff. So like, I just typically teach extension for ankle locks. You can do it, and when you do it, it is rough.
Yeah.
However, this is one of those few times where compression's harder to do, and you're classing on somebody. You're not going for the real submission, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Just,
Exactly. Any questions else on that? So we just went over the finer mechanics of breaking, right? Of how we want to see this break achieved, right? How we're applying some form of rotation, right? And applying force, right? The thing that decides whether or not we win is how isolated we have the body, or how rapidly we can change the direction without being followed. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So, if I'm standing, right, and I start to apply an ankle, you see how your hips follow me?
Yeah.
Right? If your hips can't follow me fast enough,
right.
I air quote break your ankle, right? If I go a direction your body can't follow, that sucked, didn't it?
Yeah.
Right? Can your hips follow me? So, right, we can apply more than one fashion to this. More than one fashion to this. So, we're gonna start in this position where we take someone's supine, right? And we're gonna have them trying to fight with their legs, right? And when they touch us with their legs or anything of that fashion, we're going to break that connection. We're gonna squat basically. See how squatting makes it to where it comes to me, not me come to it. If I come to it, my head gets out of alignment with my hip.
Yeah.
And this makes sweeps very easy. Alright? Where if I go to it with a squat, this makes nothing. Right? Even if you get me out of bounds, let's say out of bounds, you push me or anything of that nature, I'm still very mobile. That's still how I'm designed to move. Right? And I can choose to bail.
Yeah.
Just dive. Right? Or just back out. And just come back in. Come back in. Right. And then here, you see how I'm like right here?
Yeah.
So you see how we can connect to it, right? When we don't want to connect to it, head being out of line, right? So this is our upper body connection that we can see, very visible in the standing position, right? The reason why we're showing the upper body in the standing position is because the lower body is harder to do in a standing position, right? If let's say I'm going for this ankle, right? I'm going to connect, right? Squatting down, connecting. I'm going to use my elbow to either peel, right? My same hand that I have wrapped, because you can put that like back, right? I don't really care, right? You can use that same hand because it won't break that connection. Does that make sense? Yeah. I prefer horizontal movement.
Yeah.
Right? So like if you have connection on me, right? I'm going to connect. Any of this, you'll see that I'm literally establishing a connection and breaking a connection, right? So if I'm here, right, and this foot comes anywhere, I don't really care. Does that make sense? I want the connection to be broken so I can apply the breaking mechanics. Now, that's the upper body, almost isolation, right? But it's very easy to see in the standing. Lower body connection, our legs, is much easier to explain while seated, or we are in like 50-50 or anything of that nature, right? And 50-50, if you see and you can feel this, right? You see and feel this, these things, right? We can feel the effect that people's legs have on our hips.
Yeah.
So, what we're going to do, I just want you to work from this position on controlling me, on not allowing me basically to get up, for one, right? And then the second, to control me to where my limb feels like it's starting to get isolated. What does that mean? Isolation. 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 Does that make sense? Now, the first goal is always keep someone down. You know what I mean? Because if you stand up, right, and have your leg isolated, right? Stand up. Your leg's isolated, right?
Yeah.
And now it's got weight and it doesn't.
Yeah.
Right. So my first goal is like, go ahead and try to stand up. First goal, find the movement, right? Learn to shut down the movement. The next goal is to establish what kind of grips you want to impact or hit how you want it, right? And then we'll get to the ankle lock, right? So we went from the finest mechanics of breaking, right, where it's already closed in,